Now my honor to introduce our 2026 Hooding Ceremony Speaker, Nkechi Taifa. Ms. Taifa is a nationally respected civil rights attorney, author, and longtime advocate whose career has been defined by an unwavering commitment to justice, equity, and the liberation of Black and marginalized communities. She currently serves as president and CEO of the Taifa Group, a social enterprise advancing justice through policy, education, and advocacy, and is also the founder of the Reparation Education Project, where she leads national efforts to advance the conversation around reparative justice. Her distinguished career spans decades of public service and impact. She has served as senior policy and analyst for the Open Society Institute, legislative counsel for the American Civil Liberties Union, and has worked on Capitol Hill, where she played a key role in shaping federal sentencing policy. She was instrumental in the development of the Sentencing Reform Act of 1984, helping to influence national conversations on fairness and accountability within the criminal legal system. In addition to her policy work, Ms. Taifa is a respected scholar and thought leader. She's the author of Black Power, Black Lawyer, My Audacious Quest for Justice, a powerful reflection on her journey as an activist attorney, and a co-author and editor of Pursuing Justice in America, One Lawyer's Journey. Her voice continues to shape national dialogue on civil rights, human dignity, and the ongoing pursuit of justice. Her life's work aligns deeply with the mission of the University of the District of Columbia, David A. Clarke School of Law. At UDC Law, we are committed to training lawyers who not only master the law, but who use it in service of those most impacted by injustice. We believe in developing advocates who will stand in the gap, challenge inequities, and work to close the justice gap in our communities. Ms. Taifa embodies that mission in action. Her career reflects the very ideals we strive to instill in our graduates: a belief that the law must be used as a tool for liberation, a commitment for public service, and the courage to challenge systems that fall short of justice. For the class of 2026, her presence today is especially meaningful. As you prepare to enter this profession, you are stepping into a legacy that calls for both excellence and purpose. Ms. Taifa's journey reminds us all of what is possible when legal training is paired with conviction, integrity, and a deep sense of responsibility to others. We are deeply honored to have her with us today. Please join me in welcoming our 2026 UDC Law Speaker, Nkechi Taifa.
Thank you so very much, Dean Gilmore. Good afternoon, graduates, faculty, families, and the powerful community that surrounds and sustains this moment. To the graduates of the UDC David A. Clarke School of Law, I honor you. I celebrate you. And yes, I come to challenge you. Because today is not just a ceremony, it is a crossroads. It is a threshold between what you have learned and what you will dare to do with it. DC School of Law graduates, my talk today is about narratives in history. And I want to begin through the prism of my own journey, much of which I share my memoir, Black Power, Black Lawyer, My Audacious Quest for Justice. When my 3-year-old daughter once asked me, "Mommy, did you get Rosa Parks out of jail? I just smiled and said, no, baby. I was just 1 year old when Rosa Parks went to jail. But what I explained to her and what I want to remind you of today is that it was a movement that got her out of jail. And that movement was civil rights and Black power. And it was the narrative of that movement that shaped and molded me into the lawyer I am today. You see, over 60 years ago, as a young person growing up in America, I didn't know about Rosa Parks and the year-long 1955 Montgomery bus boycott. I did not know about the 1857 Dred Scott case where a U.S. Supreme Court justice ruled that a Black person in America had no rights, which a white person was bound to respect. 60 years ago, I didn't know about the 1822 trial of freedom fighter Denmark Vesey, who masterminded one of the most elaborate slave insurrections in history. I didn't know about the case libelants and claimants of the schooner Amistad, where in 1841 international law was applied in a domestic court in the United States and served as a springboard to release kidnapped Africans. I knew nothing of the trumped-up court trial of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey or the inflammatory case of the Scottsboro brothers. And I surely had never even heard of phenomenal Black legal giants such as Oliver Hill and Charles Hamilton Houston, whose cautionary note was that if a Black lawyer was not a social engineer, he was nothing but a parasite on society. But through my own auspices in high school and college, I did learn and live through the cases of the Wilmington 10 who were framed for the bombing of a grocery store in Wilmington, North Carolina, the case of the RNA 11 who in 1971 were herded through the streets of Jackson, Mississippi, half naked, barefoot, in chains for exercising their right to self-defense after their residence was attacked. And D.C. School of Law's own Professor Emeritus John Britton, as a young lawyer, was part of the legal defense team. Thank you, Professor Britton. We're talking about long-time strugglers here. I know Shelley Broderick is somewhere here. I'm talking about people who I knew 40, 50 years ago. Was it that long ago? Diane Russ Tierney, I was a baby lawyer. She was a baby lawyer too, okay? David Singleton, over there in Ohio, Professor Nguzzi. These are people that I worked with. Okay, I'm kind of going off script, so let me go on and get back there. But there was also the Attica brothers case. And if you don't know the names of these cases, I'm talking, look them up. You got it at your fingertips. You got the Google and the AI, all that kind of stuff. We didn't have all that back in the day. But you have that right at your fingertips. The case of the Attica brothers, where a prison in upstate New York erupted because the state refused to provide prisoners with basic human needs and then turned around and murdered both the prisoners and the hostages. Indeed, my college days during the mid to late 70s were the days when we as students were immersed ourselves in issues involving the divestiture of corporations doing business with apartheid South Africa and trying to educate athletes and actors to support what was called the cultural boycott of then self-racist South Africa. In my coming of age years was during the time of repressive law enforcement legislation in DC, such as no knock, when the police could virtually knock down your door without a warrant. Hello, Breonna Taylor, it still goes on today. And it was the time of the FBI's once secret illegal counterintelligence program, code-named COINTELPRO, against the Black movement, targeting people from Martin Luther King to Stokely Carmichael, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, the Black Panther Party, the list goes on, just to name a few. Graduates, I came of age as a young Black woman, rooted deeply in Black power, pride, and culture, adorned with an adopted African name. hair wraps, natural hair, while at the same time navigating mainstream legal institutions, boardrooms, and policy spaces. And over time, I discovered something powerful, that I could confront the injustices and hypocrisies of this society and still succeed within it. That I could work inside the system while simultaneously building tables that challenged it. That I could make a difference and have a momentous public impact despite personal shortcomings. And that the quest for justice does not require perfection, only dedication to its ideals. And as such, over the decades, I built tables that allowed me to pursue justice from different vantage points as a community activist, a teacher, lawyer, lobbyist, scholar, policy analyst, scholar, author, consultant, grant maker, executive director. And yes, I stand before you today as a testament that you can be bold, you can be brilliant, you can be rooted in your identity and your truth and still kick ass in spaces that were not built for you. Let me say something. Let me say something that may surprise you. In this moment, where books for young people are being banned, including, yes, my own, where truth is being buried, where voting rights are being eviscerated. I repeat, I just got back from New Orleans, where voting rights, right before our eyes, are being eviscerated, where organized forces of white supremacy are not just whispering, they are shouting. I nevertheless remain optimistic, not because I am naive, but because, graduates, I know from whence we came. And I want you to understand, as I did, that you inherit both a privilege and a responsibility. A privilege because you now hold the tools of the law, and a responsibility because the law has never been neutral. It is imperative that you understand there is no advancement without adversity, no strength without struggle, no destiny without difficulty. You must remember that we have been through worse times before, and as such, we must not be afraid. We must not be afraid to go against the status quo. Do you remember the congressional law that was passed in the United States in 1850 called the Fugitive Slave Act? What did it say? It mandated that no enslaved person, even if he or she had reached a free state, none of us was safe. And it was the duty and the legal obligation of every white man, woman, or child to track down the fugitives and deliver them up to the government. That was the law. Did that decree stop my heroine, Harriet Tubman? No, absolutely not. Why? Because she understood. She understood something deeper than law. She understood narrative, a narrative of freedom so powerful that it defied the statutes of the United States, as such that she spirited fugitives all the way to Canada. And I rhythmically note in my banned book for young people, to Pennsylvania and New York, she brought the enslaved till those states were safe no more. Then all the way to Canada she trudged where her people would be enslaved no more. Though Harriet was small, her mission was tall, she had to be brave to set free the enslaved. Harriet was strong, repeat after me, Harriet was strong. She never went wrong. Though Harriet was wanted, dead or alive, she kept on pushing, she took no jive. Harriet was strong. She never went wrong. She trudged back south 19 times to lead 300 north. They waded through the streams and they scaled the high mountains, but they never, ever, never stopped going forth. They followed the moss on the side of the trees, for they knew it led north. It was nature's key. They followed the North Star, for it was a guide. By moon they would travel, by sun they would hide. The art of escape was a dangerous one as they traveled in disguise. By boat, by wagon, by foot, by carriage, she vowed no one would take us back to enslavement alive. She could not read, nor could she write, but thousands of times she outwitted the whites. Harriet was strong. She never went wrong. She was awesome. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what type of lawyer, defense counsel, judge, human rights justice seeker Harriet Tubman would have made today? Someone who had a goal, was consistent, was persistent against all odds, someone who did not just think of herself, but reached back time after time after time to help others. It was ancestral narratives like Harriet's that fueled me to have the type of career in the law that I was blessed to have. So let me just bring it home. You don't have to take my path and be a movement lawyer like me to make a difference. You can be at the apex of the most lucrative law firm in the country, or work at the most modest legal service provider organization, regardless of where your legal path takes you. You have the responsibility to use the skills, the research, the writing, and the advocacy that you have learned right here at the David A. Clarke UDC School of Law. Okay, one of only 6 historically black law schools in the country. Yeah. You have the responsibility to struggle against injustice in society and to reach back into the community, to open doors and to build tables of your own. Esteemed graduates, I am not promising that your journey will be easy, particularly considering the current challenging times that we are faced right here in the United States today. But whenever times are hard or you feel stumped, I want you to remember the words of my barometer, Harriet Tubman, as she led hundreds out of enslavement. It simply was to keep going. If you hear the dogs, Harriet told her people, keep going. If you see the torches in the woods, what did she say? You're not saying it loud enough. If you feel tired, what did she say? If they're shouting after you, pushback, resistance, negativity, doubt, what did she say to her people? If you want to pass that bar exam, if you want to be a lawyer who makes a difference, if you want to challenge injustice in society, if you want some justice and some peace, don't stop, don't turn back. If you want to practice law, promote justice, and change lives, what you gonna do? Keep going, keep going, keep going. Thank you very much. Keep going.